There's a real gateway to identity theft and loss with these user accounts where the actual user is no longer with us. So it's actually called the digital afterlife.
Welcome back to the Center Stage podcast. My name is Danny Decker, and I have two great guests for you today, Tatyana Thurston and Natalia Parker of Dexit. Really excited to have a conversation with them. So, Tatyana, Natalia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So, what is Dexit? What do you guys do?
Tatyana. So, we are a firm that specializes in the technology aspect of managing accounts online. So basically, we deal a lot with terms of service, these things that are nestled in privacy statements, things where we hit, yes, I agree to open an account, and we've never really read them. And how does this impact families as it becomes an account where the user is no longer with us? How does this get managed? What kind of data or funds are at risk? And that's basically what we deal with.
And you guys do a lot with estate planning attorneys, correct? This sort of all folds into succession planning and estate planning?
Yes. Most of our clients, I would say 99% of clients are coming through estate attorneys. And wealth advisors.
Fantastic. So what is a Dexit plan?
So a Dexit plan is basically an inventory of your digital footprint. So everybody has accounts online. The average user has 157, but that's an old study by now. So we can just round up to 200 accounts online. And that's not just any account you log in. It includes the apps on your phone. And these accounts hold money, it holds loyalty points, reward points, it holds data that's of value, it holds social media, things such as photos, memories. These are all things that are at risk of loss without proper management. And so go ahead.
That makes so much sense. I never, you said the average person has 157 accounts, and it sounds like that number might even be climbing. That's wild. And so if I'm understanding correctly, kind of what you do and what a Dexit plan does is speaks to what happens to those accounts. Do I have that right?
Yes, because basically what we offer in Dexit plan, we give them a choice of the companies. They have to select the company they have an account with and select their directive. What happens to that account if in case something happens to them? And
so if somebody doesn't have a Dexit plan in place, if that's not part of their will and their estate plan, like what happens then?
Then you're in trouble.
Well, I'll give you an easy example. Let's take social media. We can look at LinkedIn, for example, or Facebook. If you've ever received an automated message that it's been someone's birthday or a work anniversary, and say that person passed away 5 years ago, that technically is an account that's still active and open, even though the account user is not. So there's a bit of an immortality to our online profiles that is not managed today. So we really want to help educate folks that there's a real gateway to identity theft and loss with these user accounts where the actual user is no longer with us. So it's actually called a digital afterlife.
That makes sense. And so I understand you guys really partner with estate planners, probably wealth advisors as well. But what does that actually look like? Like, do you guys is it a software program? Is it like, what does the partnership actually look like for an estate planning attorney?
Actually, it is a software. We provide them with access to our software, and their clients take our questionnaire and create their personal Dexit plan because it's personalized to each client. And then they decide what to do with it with estate planners. Because usually you can use it as a memorandum to your will, where you outline every digital assets you have, including crypto, including Venmo, including, those frozen embryos you haven't forgot. So
That makes a lot
there,
of sense. So okay, I'll be honest. I do have a will and an estate plan, and I don't think I've given any thought to digital, any of my digital accounts or anything like that. So what are some of the dangers, like if I were to pass away without having, a plan for any of that stuff, like why does that really matter? Like what are some of the things that could go wrong? Like why should I care about this?
So I'll give you an example. You're a business owner. You have a website. You have a digital asset. That website most likely is in maybe your personal name or your partner's personal name. If something happens to you, has that domain name been given a directive in your will because it's in your name? If not, then that domain name is left pending incorrectly, actually, because it's an unattended asset that should have been transferred to either your partner's name or whoever it is that would continue to own the domain name itself.
Interesting. You guys also mentioned like identity theft, and are you referring there to like identity theft of somebody that has actually passed away?
absolutely. Half of Nigeria is probably looking for dead accounts, trying to use them.
What
Yeah,
does that look like?
it's a threat because, especially with AI, especially social media, they have the authority to use the pictures that you've uploaded to their platform. I can give you an example of someone we know who actually was or thought they were dating someone online. And they were dating for 3 months and talked all the time. She thought he was real. He was actually unfortunately, he was a deceased Marine, but they had used his identity, recreated his voice, his image, his likeness, and his videos. And so she thought that that person was real until she found out that it wasn't. So that's just an example where maybe love has gone wrong, but we can easily transfer that to senior scams where seniors are dishing out money because they think some family member might be in distress, car accident, jailed improperly. So there's a lot of use of identity that is rampant right now,
Yeah,
especially since AI.
think about it that right now with AI, anybody can rewrite your personal history in a matter of seconds. And instead of owning a podcast, and marketing company, all of a sudden you become a plumber. Or it's not that plumber is not a good profession, it's great, but it's not who you were. You know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so putting myself back in just like a user's shoes, right? So I have, let's say 157 accounts and apps and things like that. So is part of creating a Dexit plan literally going through that entire list and assigning
Right.
ownership? Is that basically the idea? Is it's like, okay, when I pass away, here's what I want to have happen to my Facebook account. Here's what I want to have happen. Is that the idea?
Yes, that's the idea because we give you a choice of companies. We already researched those companies. We already know, can you close the account? Can you transfer the account? Can you memorialize the account? So we give you that choice to decide which one you will choose. And by the way, if something happens to somebody, most likely their spouses or kids, they don't even know which bank they use. Did they have life insurance? Where accounts did they have Venmo? Because they don't have access to the phone, or email after the death because they don't know passwords. What else they had out there? Where is 401? Where is everything? So many people are left in the dark. So
That makes
all this money, yes,
That
gone.
makes that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is really cool, and this is, again, it's something I had never even thought about until 20 minutes ago. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. So let's step back. How did the two of you see this need? What led you guys to start this business?
I would say it's a conglomeration of things, especially post-COVID. I think that we all sort of retracted online. I personally was working for a man who had two different businesses. He had cancer. He's okay now, but anyway, his businesses were supposed to be handed off to his sons. But there were clearly over 300 accounts that needed to be tended to, and that happened at the same time where I did my estate planning, and I realized even though the legal document is great, there's no practical document guide for my brother, who's the executor, to actually fulfill what it is that needs to be done. And guess what? The phone is the first problem. You know, privacy is so great with Apple, it's almost too good. And then it can't, the succession planning is really difficult. So that's kind of how we got into this. And Natalia has a former law degree, and we were very good working together, and we just get things done. So we're on a mission to like make sure that all us who are online, which is the majority, especially of Americans, we are online. Our identity is online, and we have more and more and more value sitting online that can be switched off like that. So whether you're a gamer and you're making 20 grand a month gaming, you know, you could be an influencer. All these people have income streams that are not in the traditional brick and mortar. And that's why the estate planners, it's a really big, daunting task to start thinking about all these accounts. So that's where we want to help them, is that, you know, we've done the research. We are here to help streamline so that there is a succession plan that could be, you know, valuable to the family.
So from the estate planner's perspective, is this as simple as, you know, you guys have the software program, right? So it is as simple as, you know, the client simply needs to log in and create their account. So it sounds like it's pretty low burden on the estate planning attorney, correct?
Very low burden. And that's the whole point. And in fact, we don't even need to know who their client is. We can do it that way. Because the point is that they're only identifying the company name with which they have an account and the directive. So we're not asking for logins, usernames, or passwords. That's a different conversation to have. Your digital footprint is the beginning, because that's the index catalog of where to start. Then access is the next sort of level of discussion, which is very unique to everybody. You know, some people are happy to use passphrases. Some people are happy to just use whatever Google suggested. Biometrics play a role in this. And going forward, it will be probably more and more complicated.
Yes, and we do recommendations as well, because we know that, hey, you have to turn these settings on your phone in order for somebody not to lose the data. You have to appoint the legacy contact for Apple phone or Facebook. You have to have, inactive account manager for Google. Otherwise, you lose access to Gmail, where all two-factor authentications are coming to. Your email or your computer or your phone. That's it.
That makes so much sense. So is there an option to work direct with consumers, or
Yes.
do people need to go through an attorney?
Yes, we do work directly with consumers, but if they want to put it as a part of as a memorandum to their will, they will have to go to their estate planner.
Love that. Well, I'm going to have to reach out to my estate planning attorney and tell him to get on your software program. And if he doesn't, I might just have to go myself, because this is something I really enjoyed this conversation. This is something that I had never honestly even really thought about. But obviously you guys are completely correct that like more and more of my life and my family's life happens online.
If you want to do, sorry, I just wanted to say, if you did want to just do it yourself, you can just go straight to our website, which is dexitplan.com, and just check out. And you'll get a link. It's a unique link for you. And then there's a questionnaire. It's an assessment. We recommend that you just take it in one shot. We can always ameliorate it later. But that's the best way to just get your own personal Dexit plan is just to go online.
Yeah, love it. So, okay, so for the estate planning attorneys that are listening to this and are maybe interested in learning more, what do they do? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to schedule a consultation? Like, what's the next step?
Yep, have them contact us. There's a form online they can fill out, or they can email us. It's either Tatyana.Thurston@DexitPlan or Natalia.Parker@DexitPlan, and we'll be happy to talk to them.
Yes, and we didn't even mention the second part of the exit plan, which is our reference guide, which is actually step-by-step directions on how to fulfill those directives you have chosen. What documents, where to send, where is the link, what is the best way to contact the company, and what to do actually. So we already researched it, and it saves them hours and hours of paralegal labor.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I love it. This sounds like a really great product you guys have created. I'm personally going to check it out, and I think that I can see why this is such a valuable service for estate planning attorneys. So thank you guys so much both for joining us. And again, it was dexitplan.com, and just thanks for being here.
Thank you
so much.